Some of you may not have realized that I'm not part of the club. And a lot of you listening to me right here, right now, you're not part of the club either. And what I realized with the club is what makes them so mad is when you don't want to be a part of their fucking club. That pisses them off. What club am I talking about? I'm talking about the club of gatekeepers that we all got to deal with. You know who they are, and they definitely know who they are. A lot of people would be like, what? Who? Come on.
So let me get this straight while the rest of us were out here stressing about rent, gas prices, and whether Beyonce is dropping another album. Michelle Obama was allegedly out here hiding a secret so deep that even the Secret Service probably had to sign NDAs in blood. And who, of all people, just cracked the code? None other than Ice Cube. Yes, Mr. Today was a good day. Mr. Straight Outta Compton, now apparently, Straight Outta Secrets. Tell me why this sounds less like politics and more like the biggest crossover episode in reality. TV history, because baby, if Cube is speaking, you already know it's not about to be small talk. This man has called out the government, Hollywood, and the entire music industry, so when he drops a bomb about Michelle Obama, it's giving nuclear. What kind of tea is so hot that she allegedly hid it for years? A scandal? A backroom deal? A personal truth that could flip the Obama legacy upside down? Buckle up, because what you're about to hear isn't some PR polished fairy tale. This is the kind of hidden chapter.
Think that the United States will see the first gay president or the first woman president?
We already have it with Obama, so let's just calm down.
Got it.
You know Michelle is a
I'm sorry, she's a what?
A transgender. We all know.
Oh my gosh.
Chapter that turns American royalty into a Netflix documentary overnight. Now, let's set the stage. Because this isn't just some random internet rumor cooked up in a basement with a Wi-Fi connection and a box of Hot Pockets. No, this story has weight, this story has history. And this story has Ice Cube standing front and center saying, y'all don't even know the half of it. And you know what? He's right, because the half we do know about the Obamas has already been carefully wrapped, polished, and marketed like the world's most expensive Hallmark card. Think about it, Michelle Obama was sold to us as America's mom, the poster child for when they go low, we go high? But what if I told you behind that dazzling smile and those motivational speeches about eating broccoli, there's a closet so packed with secrets it makes Pandora's box look like a sock drawer? And Ice Cube, of all people, claims he's the one holding the flashlight to it. Now, Cube has never been shy about calling things how he sees them. From NWA screaming F*** the police, to him standing in front of Hollywood executives demanding respect. This man is allergic to sugarcoating. So when he sat down in a recent interview, oh yes, we've seen the clips and dropped the line that Michelle Obama has been hiding something major for years. The internet didn't just react. It combusted. Comments flooded in. Wait, what does he know? Is this political or personal? Why does this sound like the beginning of a Netflix docuseries?
Some of you may not have realized that I'm not part of the club. And a lot of you listening to me right here, right now, you're not part of the club either.
I wanted to talk, Marlon, a bit about, I'm just so proud of how you are being a role model for dealing with a child that's transgender.
Absolutely.
And that's, that warms my heart, particularly as a black man.
Distinguished guests and men and women of the finest military in the world. Most of all, Admiral Mullen, Deborah, Michael and I.
And here's where it gets messy. Because if you look at Michelle's carefully crafted public image, there are gaps, little blank spaces in her timeline that the media conveniently skips over, like they're running from an unpaid bar tab. Remember the sudden trips, the low-key disappearances, the odd hush-hush stories that would circulate and then vanish faster than a Kardashian marriage. Yeah, those weren't just coincidences, they were cover-ups, or at least that's what the whispers say. Sources allegedly, of course, claim that Ice Cube has been sitting on receipts for a while now. Not financial receipts, not grocery store receipts, but the kind of receipts that come from being in Hollywood, in politics, and in rooms where cameras aren't allowed but billion-dollar deals are made. And apparently, Michelle's name kept popping up in conversations she had no business being in. The streets are talking. Former staffers, anonymous aides, even a so-called former friend of the family, who mysteriously relocated to another country. Everyone has a version of the same story. Michelle Obama's perfect image was built on a secret so dangerous, it had to be buried under layers of speeches, charity events, and public appearances. And just when you think it can't get any deeper, Ice Cube himself drops that infamous smirk and says, "They've been playing y'all for years."
You know, for the first time, I felt proud that America took that step.
Yep.
I didn't think they would ever do that. And so that was a moment in time. But then you look around, years go by, and not much change for people I know, people I care about. But it didn't change with Bush. It didn't change with Clinton. It didn't change with the other Bush or Reagan. At the end of the day, it's still...
Now hold on to that thought, because this video is where we dig into the so-called receipts, the anonymous leaks, and the bizarre trail of hush money that might just connect all the dots. So let's talk about these receipts, because baby, Ice Cube didn't just pull this claim out of thin air like a magician pulling rabbits. No, he's hinting that there's documentation files, whispers, and maybe even videos that suggest Michelle Obama's squeaky clean brand is more of a Hollywood script than reality. And when Cube says they've been playing y'all, you better believe the internet detectives. Clocked in like it was their full-time job? First clue? The mysterious spending. Word on the street is that Michelle's name has been tied to a string of private foundations that don't exactly add up. Picture this: millions flowing through shell companies with names so vague they sound like rejected boy bands. Hope Initiative Group, Future Path Alliance, Vision Forward Trust. Cute names, but where's the money going? Anonymous insiders swear some of those funds were funneled into personal luxuries, overseas trips, and even hush payments to keep certain people quiet. And yet the mainstream media? Silent, not a peep.
Right now, because I'm transitioning. I'm 60 years old. I've finished a really hard thing in my life with my family intact. I'm an empty nester. My girls are in, they've been launched. And now for the first time, as I've said before, every choice that I'm making is completely mine.
Then there's the travel. Remember those sudden, unexplained getaways Michelle took that were brushed off as family vacations or wellness retreats? Yeah, well, the leaked flight logs tell a different story. According to one so-called insider, those trips lined up a little too perfectly with major political shakeups, almost like someone was moving chess pieces behind the scenes. Coincidence? Or cover-up? Cube seems to be implying the latter, and let's not forget the people connected to these stories. An alleged former aide who, of course, remains anonymous but swears they feared for their career, claims. Michelle was often seen in closed-door meetings with power players from Silicon Valley, Wall Street, and even Hollywood elites. Meetings where no official agenda existed, no transcripts were taken, but deals were allegedly made. One supposed leak even describes Michelle as the silent architect behind several billion-dollar partnerships. Imagine that. The First Lady turned shadow CEO. Public reaction? Oh, it's been a circus. Twitter, or should I say X, blew up with hashtags like hashtag Michelle exposed and hashtag Cube knows the truth. One viral tweet read, "So Michelle Obama was out here giving us speeches about healthy lunches while secretly living like Scandal's Olivia Pope." Another chimed in, "If Cube got receipts, it's over. Netflix, get ready." But the wildest his video? Rumors of hush money. Allegedly, several individuals tied to these claims received consulting fees or retirement packages at oddly convenient times. A former journalist even hinted that they were offered a six-figure payout to bury a story connecting Michelle to an overseas account. And when asked why they didn't publish, their exact words, because the Obamas aren't just a family, they're an institution. And institutions protect themselves. And now, with Cube stepping into the spotlight, that institution looks shaky. But if you think that's messy, just wait, because this video is where the fallout gets real: legal whispers, government investigations, and the possibility that Michelle's hidden truth could shake not just the Obama legacy, but the entire political stage. And now we arrive at the fallout, because, baby, you don't drop a bomb like this without the mushroom cloud. If what Ice Cube is hinting at holds any weight, we're talking about a ripple effect that makes Watergate look like spilled coffee on a desk. The Obamas built their legacy on transparency, dignity, and hope. But imagine if hope turns out to be shorthand for hide everything on paper until the heat dies down. The whispers of legal trouble are already circling. Anonymous legal analysts are claiming that if Michelle's connections to these ghost foundations and offshore accounts are ever proven, we're not just talking about a scandal, we're talking about possible federal investigations. Think subpoenas, think probes, think Michelle Obama having to answer questions under oath while the cameras flash like it's the Met Gala. The optics alone? Devastating. And then there's the political fallout. The Democratic Party, already fragile and fractured, doesn't need this smoke. Imagine headlines reading "Former First Lady Tied to Secret Funds" right in the middle of an election cycle. That's not just bad press, that's campaign suicide. Insiders claim certain party officials are already scrambling, trying to get ahead of the story, holding late-night meetings in D.C. about containment strategies. And yes, that's the exact phrase they used, containment strategies. The public, meanwhile, is sharpening its pitchforks. If you thought hashtags were wild before, now they're turning into full-blown digital protests. TikTokers are making conspiracy videos with dramatic background music. YouTubers are dropping exposes every other hour, and regular folks are asking the same question over and over. If she hid this for years, what else don't we know? And let's not overlook Ice Cube himself. Some are calling him a hero, others a troublemaker, but either way he's center stage. People are already begging him to drop the files and release the tapes. Imagine Cube going live, pulling out a folder thicker than a Sunday church fan and laying out documents line by line. The internet would literally melt. But here's where it gets scary. What if this doesn't stop at Michelle? What if pulling on this thread unravels the entire Obama brand? The speeches, the foundations, the Netflix deals, it all starts to look a little strategic, a little too perfect. And when something's too perfect, history has taught us it's usually hiding a mess underneath. At the end of the day, one thing is clear: if even half of what Cube is hinting at turns out to be true, Michelle Obama won't just be dealing with public embarrassment, she could be facing political exile, financial investigations, and the collapse of the carefully curated image she's spent decades protecting. But the bigger question is, will she survive the storm? Or has Ice Cube just lit the match that burns down Camelot? So here we are, staring down the biggest, oops, did I just expose the Obamas? Moment of the decade. Ice Cube opened his mouth, the internet went into cardiac arrest, and Michelle Obama's carefully polished legacy is suddenly looking like a Jenga tower, one pull away from collapse. But let me ask you this, do you really think this is the end of it? Or is this just the first domino in a chain reaction that's about to flip DC upside down? Because if Cube's telling the truth, then baby, the rabbit hole goes deeper than we ever imagined. And if he's not, well, then he just gave us the juiciest plot twist since Scandal. Either way, you don't want to miss what comes next. So tell me in the comments, what do you think Michelle's been hiding? And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell, because this saga isn't over.